Reportedly not going to charge President Biden in his classified documents case. Here's One America's Daniel Baldwin with more.
President Joe Biden is home free, or at least that's what the new report from CNN indicates. CNN is saying special counsel Robert Hur will not charge President Joe Biden criminally for mishandling classified materials from his vice president and Senate days. Mike Davis, founder and president of the Article 3 Project, is with us. Mike, you've been on this subject unlike anyone throughout the country. Is this report, if accurate, the report that Hur is going to be releasing has not actually come out yet, but is this, if CNN is accurate here, is this surprising?
It's not surprising at all, because Robert Hur was hand-selected to be the special counsel by Merrick Garland, because Robert Hur is part of the uniparty. He's part of the uniparty deep state. Robert Hur works with Comey, with Chris Wray, with Rod Rosenstein, that whole cabal. And I said at the beginning when he was appointed, there is no chance that Robert Hur is going to do anything here. He did not run an aggressive investigation, and it's not surprising that he's going to issue a, strongly worded letter and then do nothing about this. Remember, the Biden Justice Department went after President Trump, a former president, for presidential records he's allowed to have under the Presidential Records Act. He had him in the Office of Former President, which is funded by Congress with federally funded staff, secure office space, and Secret Service protection. There's no evidence whatsoever that any of this leaked out or was used for any nefarious purpose. Contrast that with then Vice President Joe Biden and even Senator Biden, who had 5 stashes of stolen classified records from his time as VP and even senator, moved several times, unguarded for years, and almost certainly, accessible by their Chinese agent, and almost certainly used by Hunter to secure tens of millions of dollars in foreign bribes and corruption from Ukraine, as Miranda Devine from the New York Post reported. So it is shameful that Robert Hur is going to write a report and do nothing about this after Jack Smith is trying to put in prison for the rest of his life President Trump for records he's allowed to have under the Presidential Records Act.
You mentioned the Presidential Records Act, sir, and this looms large over this discussion. It wasn't mentioned once by Jack Smith in his initial indictment of Trump earlier this year. For good reason. It gives the chief executive absolute authority to declassify whatever he wants. Why are these prosecutors pretending this doesn't exist? Because as you pointed out, these documents from Biden he wasn't president, he was vice president and senator. He didn't have protection under the Presidential Records Act.
They are not even citing the Presidential Records Act when the Biden Justice Department, when Jay Bratt ran this unprecedented, unnecessary, and unlawful home raid on a former president. They went to a biased magistrate, Judge Bruce Reinhart, who had just recused 6 weeks later from a Trump case because he couldn't be fair to Trump. 6 weeks later, that bias magically disappeared, and they did this home raid. This is a political hit on President Trump to get back presidential records he's allowed to have, while they ignore the clear violations of the Espionage Act by then Vice President Joe Biden, who almost certainly illegally used these records to secure illegal, corrupt foreign funding.
The slant from the mainstream media is that the reason Biden is apparently going to be getting off scot-free is because, he cooperated with prosecutors and the DOJ. He worked with them, and President Trump didn't, even though he did work with NARA directly, turned over 15 boxes in January of 2022, let Jay Bratt into Mar-a-Lago to look for more documents, and told them he would help them out with whatever they needed, yet they still raided Mar-a-Lago. Does this cooperation argument from the mainstream media bear any weight?
No, I mean, President Biden, when Biden as vice president and senator, he had stolen classified records in his house. That's a violation of the Espionage Act. He moved them several times. That's a violation of the Espionage Act. He had them accessible to his Chinese agent. That's a violation of the Espionage Act. And his son almost certainly used them to secure foreign corrupt funding. That's a violation of the Espionage Act. Remember, the Biden Justice Department, Merrick Garland, had this sweetheart deal when they were raiding Trump. They let Biden and his attorneys do secret searches instead of sending in the FBI. And they found 4 sets of classified records and then turned them over. And then when Garland got caught and he had to appoint a special counsel and the FBI went in, they found the 5th set. So how does Biden explain not turning over this 5th set? That doesn't sound like cooperation to me.
Thank you so much for joining us on One America
News. Thank you very much.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.